the invisible hand, right? Especially in your business, if you're building a brand, pay very close attention to this. There's the invisible hand with the type of work that you put out and how you come across to an audience or even the people that you want to work with. The visible hand is word of mouth. Word of mouth can either build your business and what you're working on, or it can absolutely crush it because one person flat out tells another person, hey, don't ever call this guy or don't ever call this gal. They did me dirty, or they don't follow through with what they say, or even worse, for those of us that are over promising and under delivering with our products, with our content, just to get the click. I would rather, and I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. I told them, bro, the copy on your page is cool, but can you provide that? Because if you can't provide that, take it off. It's gonna do you more harm.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rich in Real Life. I am here with another incredible guest, and boy, oh boy, are you in for a treat because the gems this guy be dropping. I can say that I am blessed beyond measure to know him. You will be blessed beyond measure to follow him, because if you are building a business, whether you are in the starting phases or you are in the scaling phases, because you will learn quickly that the things that got you there will become a liability at scale. You need capital. You need capital, and you need, sometimes we need to grow quicker than we're ready for. And it requires a little bit of risk of us. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever used your own cash to do so, shit can be a little painful. And so that's why it's so important to talk about business credit. And if I were personally honest, the reason why I love having this guest on the show is because I didn't know shit about it. And I still feel like I'm in the dark about it, is because I don't feel like this information is readily available out there for you to just understand. And it's almost like we have to go to some of the deepest, darkest places to bring up some of these secrets when it comes to cleaning your credit, when it comes to personal guaranteeing something, when it comes to building business credit and being eligible for business funding, because we think you have to be a multimillionaire to do so. And I'm here to tell you this person is going to debunk all of that. So I'm so excited to introduce you to someone that I really like to call a friend, someone that I connected with a year and some time ago. And I'm so thankful that I did. And just someone that is going to help you grow your business and scale if and when you are ready. And really just, I'm telling you, y'all, just wait for this shit. So I'm really excited to introduce business coach, funding, finance educator, and friend, Irvin, aka IrvOfficial.
Man, what a warm intro. No pressure, right?
No pressure.
No pressure.
None.
My goodness. Now he has to deliver. Now they're like, okay, now I got to hear what he has to say. But I'm excited to be here. I really am. When we connected, you're genuine. I've seen what you've been doing. Whenever we catch up, you kind of just update me on what you have going on. And I've just been a fan of your work and what you have going on, which has been awesome to see. Seriously.
Yo, every time we talk, it's like I just send a couple audio messages and we're just like, okay, connect this thing. Let's stay connected. How do we kind of keep updated with each other? Plus, you have this insane life that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Let me tell you, it's crazy.
But you set out on a journey a while back to really educate people. And I'm going to ask you the most elementary asked question, but I want to know where this was derived from. Mm-hmm. Where did you say, like, other people need to know about this shit?
I guess I was kind of seeking for what I needed. Mm-hmm. There was a season in my life. We were living in South Florida. I've told you this story, but for those of you guys that don't know, I was living in South Florida at the time with my wife in a brand new market. At the time, I was selling real estate. My wife was pregnant. We were expecting our first one, which was our daughter, Jubilee.
First one, you can tell that there's more than one when you say it like that.
I'm gonna start off with a cliffhanger. So pretty much what ended up happening, that was about 4 years ago, is I just ran my credit to shambles, trying to figure out how can I scale my business. And as entrepreneurs and business owners, this thing called business credit, it's a little bit trickier, especially with, just some of the terminology that banks use, which hopefully we can kind of like debunk some of the things that they use, which is really just code for, I'd say this overextended grammar that you don't even need to know. So we try to keep it simple. So I was hoping to have that in my life of, man, if only there was someone that would tell me, hey, this is how you build business credit. Hey, you don't want to do this with your personal credit because now you're kind of commingling your funds with your business account. And so kind of fast forwarding, I ended up, hurting my credit completely, ended up rebuilding it, and then ended up discovering this thing called business credit, which is now what we are pretty much using to scale and help entrepreneurs scale their businesses.
I think I felt like he was talking to me personally. So if you've ever started a business and failed, or started a business and been successful and been unaware of the availability around business credit, you too have used your personal credit and let that shit go to shambles. Because you need capital, you need cash, you need equipment, you need staff, you need, and things happen. God forbid you are always, and I hate to sound so negative when I say this, but I've only learned this a hard way, is like, I've been one mistake and one emergency away at all times from like, everyone's like, well, you need to save and you need to have this bank account that has, your OpEx account, or you need to have cash in reserves to, until one wrong move. And then you have to spend an immense amount of cash on a piece of equipment. Low key, my keyboard broke yesterday on my Mac.
That'll run you some.
Literally. And I was like, literally, this was me. I was on a call and I hit the button and the letter E came off. And I was like, God, don't make me spend $1,500 today. Like, this is me. I was like, shit. Like, there's an expense that I was not ready for, on top of I have to pay my staff. And hold on, I want to bring this part up because I'm going to dig a little hole, but we're going to get out of it. I was listening to a webinar the other day and this woman said this, and I said, that's exactly how I fucking feel. She said 90, whatever the percentage is, whatever percentage of businesses fail, but people within the first 5 years, but people don't talk about why. And she said, it's because this uncanny place that we get to between the $250,000 and 800 to $1 million that all business owners get to, that you are tons of cash in, you are paying yourself, you're paying the business, you're paying the contractors and the employees, the insurance and all the things that are required. You are paying taxes now because holy shit, IRS does not play.
Oh, they'll come for you.
You're paying the IRS, you're paying for any emergencies, and you're trying to put cash in a fund to grow the business, to invest and scale. And you have $0 left over, zero margins, or zero space for mistakes.
Yes. And
I was like, that's where I feel like I'm at.
Yeah.
Because you're like, all this money, where'd it go?
No, it's not there. It's not there. You still feel like sometimes, like if you don't know what you're doing, and if maybe you're in this space, you start making all this money and it still feels like when you first got into business.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're still reaching and you're like, am I ever going to make it out of this hole?
Yes. Okay. So let's start like elementary, because I did ask my audience what were some things that they wanted to know. And they asked a great question, which was something that like, I just feel like I kind of learned through, was business credit versus PG. Like your personal guaranteeing stuff. Because just because I have an LLC and an IEN number and I go to get a credit card does not mean that this now becomes my business credit card, correct?
Correct.
Or my business line of credit.
Yes.
So what is the difference and how do we differentiate the two?
Great question. So one of the ways that I like to explain it is your business credit is pretty much the extension, or pretty much your business's ability to obtain financing or funding through your business's name, right? So we'll go ahead and say that Irv is, me, myself, right? With my social, with my birth certificate, that's me. Then I have, let's say, my LLC, IrvOfficial LLC, just for using that for an example. The birth certificate on that is the LLC, but the EIN, which is the employer identification number, is seen as a social security number. And that's what we use on business credit applications. So that's on the business credit side. If I wanted to get, let's say, a business credit card, a business line of credit. Now, when it comes to PG, that means personally guarantee.
Correct. Sorry.
That's fine. Personally guarantee, personally guarantor, whatever, however you want to say it, but it's used interchangeably. And so what ends up happening is that business owners say, well, I don't want to personally guarantee, but you have to think of your business like a child. And so when your child goes to buy a car, or when your child is trying to buy a house, their credit may not be able to stand alone. Yes. So as a responsible parent, we want to co-sign on their behalf so that they can continue to grow. And so as our businesses are growing, maybe we don't have enough business credit established yet. PG is just another word. Again, we want to make it simple today for I'm going to co-sign for my baby, which is my business.
Is there a way, I'm asking it, is there a way to build or begin a line of business credit without PGing it? Like first time?
First time, if you're looking for just a loan, line of credit, no. With business credit cards, yes. Those are known as fintech companies.
Oh, and that's like, what is that? Like the Divvy and the...
Yes.
Okay.
The Divvies of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a good way?
The Brexes of the world. Yes,
to begin business credit.
it is, but you have to be careful. And so this is again a conversation that we have with our clients is, and now
Yes.
we were having this kind of off camera.
Yes.
If you don't know what you're actually going to do with those funds, then I would start off with a traditional business credit card, even if you have to PG it, because it allows you to carry a revolving. It's a revolving credit card that allows you to carry a balance. So those are
Mm.
your American Expresses, your Business Inks, your Bank of America, a business cash versus a divvy. I can access $50,000 in, let's say, business credit, non-PG, because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I use 10,000. Guess what? It has to be paid the following month since it's a charge card. Full
10,000.
10,000.
Oh, ouch. Wasn't ready for that. Okay, I'm going to backtrack, and I feel like this might be a dumb question. When you start your business, you go get your LLC. You are then given an EIN number, which is your business social security number, like you said. But in order for you to build business credit, you have to have a DUNS number.
Yes.
And I don't know about anyone else, but no one told me that.
Yeah, they don't.
So I had a business for a full year, and someone was like, "Where's your DUNS number?" And I was like, "Hold on, let me pull up my business certificate."
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's not on here." They were like, "You don't have
Yeah.
one?" And I was like, "No." So one interesting thing for me was it doesn't matter how long you're in business if you have not
If you haven't
applied
built
for
it.
this, if you have not built it. Like, congratulations on your successfully built business. If you have not done anything to actually build your business credit, here nor there. Like, I remember talking to someone, and he was like, my CPA connected me with someone, and he was like, "So you have this much cash going in and out of your business every month?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "No credit cards." And I was like, "No." He's like,
Mhm.
"You spend this much on travel every month for your business." And he was like, "Good news is you always know how much money you have."
Yeah.
He was like, "Because you don't put anything on credit cards." He was like, "Bad news is nobody's tracking this." Like,
Yeah.
he was like, "There's
Yeah.
no success in this. You have all this money coming in and all this money coming out, and you have nothing to show for it."
I have to be able to track it. And that's another thing about business credit that I like. It allows you to separate your personal from your business finances.
Yeah.
And so you can just see, okay, if I haven't used my personal credit card, then you know for a fact it's a business expense. But when you're using your personal credit cards, you try to differentiate, okay, which one's which, and then you end up getting popped by the IRS with an audit because they call this thing commingling. It's not because you were doing anything bad. It's just because it just raises a red flag for them. Now it looks like it's like you're running a fishy operation.
Mm.
And it also slows down your ability to scale, because something that also you should know is that with business credit, it doesn't show on the personal side. And so if I have, let's say, $50,000 of business credit, I go out and I put $30,000 in a marketing campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to report on my utilization on my personal side. But if I were to use that with personal credit cards, I've blown up
Your credit.
my credit. And
To shit.
yeah, and it's not going to get better until I pay that utilization back down to under 20%.
Correct.
Versus removing that liability and transferring the liability over to the business side.
Okay, so let me explain to me a situation, like, because you've coached hundreds and hundreds of students on this. What is like best case scenario that you've seen where someone's been able to access like a great amount of business funding or business credit, and they've done something really great with it?
Great question. So we actually had a client, I think 2 weeks ago, we were having a live coaching call. He was kind of just sharing what he's done. His story was he had already built up a relationship with his bank. And so I told him one of the fastest ways you can access funding, especially if you're listening to this, is you want to see who do you already have a relationship with? Who do you have a business bank account with? Who do you have the most maybe personal cards with? Because those are nice little bridges that you can use so that you can build your business credit. And so he went out and he applied for, I believe it was 3 rounds of funding. So they gave him two business cards and a line of credit. I think he was able to tap into 120.
Wow.
120,000. That was under 60 days. But remember, the framework and the ground level was already built. He just had to get pointed in the right direction.
Yes.
And that's what ends up happening with a lot of business owners, right? 120, used that for his trucking company.
For his what?
Trucking company.
Oh my God. And probably tripled that.
Yeah.
Okay, pause. You said 120. You said he did 120 in
120.
60 days. And let's talk about this time frame here, because I've heard you talk about this on your Instagram before.
Yes.
Is double dipping.
Yes.
So
You've been watching the content.
You know.
I love it.
'Cause I'm
Okay.
like, hold
Wait
on.
a minute. They're gonna be reaching the bag here.
Get it out.
Let's see. Let's check out the archive. Let's see. Oh yeah, I dropped that one 2 weeks ago. All right, let's see it.
So double dipping, that I just love the way you explain your content. It's so simple to understand for someone like me who literally learns everything the hard way. Like, I love getting like everything has to be like that the hard ass whooping. And then I'm like, oh, I get it now. But you explained it in such an elementary way to understand. And you were at the bank, because you're always at the bank.
Always at the bank.
Or the dealership. But you were at the bank and you were like, I think it was like a business loan and a business credit card. And he was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to run an inquiry again.
Yes.
You applied online, but we'll run another inquiry. And you were like, no, actually, it's from my understanding in the terms and conditions that you ran it once already, and that's more than enough.
Yes. And so I'll give you guys a real life example that just, if you're listening to this, if you have Citizens Bank in your area, right? Citizens Bank allows you to go and get a soft pull approval with them. So they're going to pull with Experian in most cases, right? In most instances. So that's a data point that I want to give you. They're most likely going to pull from Experian. Now, with that, you're able to access 2 different products. You're able to access up to $25,000 with their business credit card, 0% for, I believe, 6 months, which is pretty cool, right? And then in addition to that, with that same kind of like that soft pull that they're going to give you on the front end, you're also able to access a business line of credit up to $250,000, and that's revolving line of credit, and that's going to be a low doc. Low doc meaning they're not going to ask you for your tax returns. They're only going to ask, they're only going to, again, check your personal credit. And then they are going to ask you for at least 3 months worth of bank statements. You should be able to receive that funding within 2-3 days.
I'm laughing because the guy behind the camera's on his phone. He's like, wait,
he's back there. He's like, wait, let me pull that up. We got a Citizens Bank down the street.
Okay, so let's back this thing up for a second, because I know someone's listening, or me, like 6 months ago. If your personal credit is shot.
Yes.
Like, let me tell you a wild ride to be on, but a very normal one is to be able to be like, yeah, I got a multi-6-figure business. Like, all this money coming in and my personal credit is shit. Like, and people are like, why? Like, I could buy whatever, but could not get an apartment if I tried. Like,
that was me. That's how this journey started.
Make it make sense, but it's because you're like, oh, I need 4,000 to do this, and I need 10. Oh, I'm just gonna grab a new credit card because my credit's okay right now. Or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. Oh, my computer broke.
There you go.
I need another MacBook now. God, like there's just all these things, and so if we're finding ourselves in this situation right now where it's like, I have a great business, but I can't go get a Amex with, 300,000 in business revenue, but
not yet. We'll work up to it, right?
Yeah, a 605 in credit. So what are some things people like in this situation? What can we do for like credit cleaning or, obviously we need to pay off our credit cards. Understood. But what are some things we could do to just start that journey? Yeah,
no, that's a great question. And I think that a lot of business owners, at least the ones sometimes that I come across, is they have a misconception and an unhealthy relationship with what business credit is, what business funding is. And so they think that they can just bypass having, terrible personal credit, over leveraged on the personal side, never taking a look at that and saying, hey, I have to fix this, versus, just going into the business side. Here's what ends up happening. How we do anything.
How we do anything is how we do everything.
How we do everything. And so what ends up happening is that creeps into our business, whether we know it or not. And
we know it. We know it.
I think it has to do a lot more with how deeply rooted we are with how we see money and how we see our finances on the personal side. And so what ends up happening is, again, that creeps in over on the business side. And so anyone that I ever get in front of, I'm in front of you right now. You want to make sure that you are working on your personal credit equally or as much that you are working on your business credit. Here is why. Your business, especially if you're less than a year old, less than 2 years old, especially when you compare it to big whales like these hedge funds and these Fortune 500 companies, you're still seen as a drop in the bucket, even if you're making $500,000. I'm just keeping it real with you guys, even if you're making $2 million, right? Yep. And so that means that they're still going to take a look at your personal credit to see how you've been behaving as a consumer, because that's a clear kind of like a clear code or note for them to be able to see, okay, if they've been like this on the personal side, then this is going to be really bad on the business side. And so it actually works as a bankruptcy detector for them with their algorithms.
All right. You ready for my...
That's not too banky, is it?
No, that was
okay.
Good.
Just making sure.
No,
making sure it's not like too banky or anything.
This dove in to me, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna give you my bullshit and see where you take it. Ready? So, last year I made a big mistake.
Uh-oh.
I hired one of those like credit companies to help me with my credit
Uh-oh.
and found out later my credit jumped up.
Okay.
It was great.
There you go.
And it was temporary.
Uh-oh.
And then I looked at my credit and I couldn't figure out what happened. And somehow, some way, there are 5 years missing off of my credit history.
Cards that you had, accounts that you had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it literally went from reading on Experian of 8 years of credit history to 3.
Yeah, they swept you.
They swept me.
They swept
and I'm
you.
like, so is there anything else I can do besides time?
Well, you can. And this is going to be just one of those things that sucks because you got swept.
Yeah.
And so there's really 2 ways that you can build time. Either A, which is the one that we want, which is either on the business side or on the personal side. You want your own accounts. Those are your primaries. Those belong to you. That's, it's under your business name that you own, or it's under your name, right?
Yeah.
The other way is going to be an authorized user.
Ooh.
And the authorized user is like mom, dad, sibling, significant other, where they can add you to their account. As a matter of fact, one of the ways that I started building my personal credit was my dad. I think he had 15 years on his American Express, Bank of America. And so he actually added me as an authorized user, and it gave me that age.
Okay, wait. Nope, never mind. Nope, that's not a good question. But this is so important, and I want to explain why, especially those of you that think you're slick enough and have the audacity to go into business partnership. Let me tell you from the experience of being the bad person, how you can fuck your business partner royally. So we dealt with this with Innovative Income. Innovative Income, lo and behold, always has great cash in the bank because it is a cash business. It is, oh my God, it is so expensive. Like, you want to talk about that event's leading up to a 6-figure price tag at this point to run it. And people are always like, oh my God, that must be so much. But it costs so much money to run events. Have you ever done a 200-person event?
Events are expensive.
Oh my God. Every single thing that involves in that event.
Kids' birthday parties are expensive. Forget an event. Kids' birthday parties are expensive.
You want a giraffe and balloons?
Oh,
That's 20 grand.
God.
Sit down.
I don't know. It's the biggest scam. A kid's first year, birthday party,
or
a wedding, or a wedding.
Will not remember, or a wedding. Yo, I can't wait, husband. If you're out there, because I know you are. Listen, it's you, me, and 10 folks, and that's all.
Listen.
That's it. And I'm getting my white dress off of Fashion Nova. It's fuck it for me. And
Listen.
we're getting married with a beach view, 10 folks, $100 dress, and we done.
That's it.
And we done.
That's it.
That's it. Because we got a lifetime to figure the rest
Go
of
to
that
Cracker
shit
Barrel
out.
after this. Listen, we're reinvesting back into the future here.
Yes.
Like, seriously.
We're picking up Cracker Barrel hash browns to go.
Come on. So you were going with it. Go ahead. So the event, it's pretty much a you're burning a hole in your pocket.
Burning a hole, and people don't even know this. I'll even be more transparent about this. The first year, my business partner, who was, God bless her, raised with great financial education, PG'd everything with her own credit card because the business wasn't old enough to get business credit card. And then we got a business credit card because the first year was literally her paying for it on her credit card, us getting the cash, paying off her credit card. And so she was building her credit. I'm building nothing. And then we get a business credit card. And then we got a business credit card. And then anything we tried to get after that, after the LLC was created 50-50 with me, everything that we applied for after that got denied.
And you're on the application?
Yes.
Okay.
When I'm on the application, it gets denied.
Yes.
Because of me. Because of my credit, my personal credit.
Yes.
So this is why it's so important in business partnership.
Yes.
Because poor thing, my business partner, shout out to Megan, on Innovative Income, she could get whatever she needs for us. So a lot of times, guess who has to be eliminated from the application?
Keep her on the application. That's known as a credit partner. That's a nice little side step. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I was like, at the first couple rounds, I just remember she's like, oh, I applied for this Amex. It'll be great. And like, it's insane when you know you have that much in the bank. Yeah. And it was like denied. And she's like, what the fuck? And then it was like, oh, it's me. I'm the problem.
Gotta keep them off the application. gotta keep them off.
Not me being the bad apple again. But yeah, so I just wanted to shout that out because those of you with looking to partner in business, be mindful.
Be mindful of who you're getting in a relationship with, and in the physical and then even in the business realm. And for those of you guys that are wondering, you only need, or your business partner only needs at least 25% ownership in the company. You were at 50, which is cool.
Yeah.
they need at least 25% so that they can be on it as a standalone. And so just make sure that they're on the articles of organization on the LLC.
Boom.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. All right. So let's get into the personal.
Yes.
I hope we gave enough gems with that. Irv's that guy. So follow him. Where can they follow you?
At IrvOfficial.
At IrvOfficial.
The real one. I don't have a blue check yet. And there's these fake accounts that keep coming up, and it's like, oh my God.
They say that's the beginning of like, once you do that, and then you can like call it Instagram,
many.
but you need more like articles and stuff. And then
Yeah.
you can say, hey, Instagram.
I refuse to buy my way there. I'm so stubborn. I can just reach in my phone and say, hey, get these articles out there. And I'm just so stubborn. I'd rather get the right press. The right way.
Shout out to that. Shout out to you for that. I love that, because like, if y'all don't know, you could pay $2,500 to $6,000 right now to almost anyone on the planet and get not a fake. You could get featured in any one of these articles.
A blue ticky.
Yeah. And then tell Instagram that you're featured in all these articles and get yourself a blue check.
Yeah.
But shout out to you for everything you've done is organic.
Mm-hmm.
You don't run ads.
Don't run ads.
I think that's incredible, because it gets us back to providing value,
yes,
impact, changing lives, and really providing people with this transformative piece. And you will be seen, and it might be a little bit of a slower grind, but you know what? I'm cool with the journey.
100%. And we were talking about it earlier, the invisible hand, right? Especially in your business, if you're building a brand, pay very close attention to this. There's the invisible hand with the type of work that you put out and how you come across to an audience or even the people that you want to work with. The invisible hand is word of mouth. Word of mouth can either build your business and what you're working on, or it can absolutely crush it because one person flat out tells another person, hey, don't ever call this guy or don't ever call this gal. They did me dirty, or they don't follow through with what they say. Or even worse, for those of us that are over promising and under delivering with our products, with our content, just to get the click, I would rather, and I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, I told them, bro, the copy on your page is cool, but can you provide that? Because if you can't provide that, take it off. It's gonna do you more harm. And so I would rather, let's say, versus telling somebody, oh, we're gonna, let's say, help you get $1 million in funding, dude, that might be too much for the majority of the people that are out there looking at that. So hey, we can get you your first $50,000 in funding. See what you can do with that first. To me, that's more attractive because we do that like clockwork.
Yeah.
And so same thing with you and your business, because I've seen what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And with you, I honestly think that she underpromises and she over-delivers with her. Yeah. And I'm just being honest, because that's what I've seen. And word gets around. I'm like, I know her. I could vouch for her.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But to me, that's the exciting part. Is like, let me tell you a little bit about what this looks like. And then I hope I just had that happen with the last couple of clients, like bigger names. Their person will actually reach out to me, and because we do a pretty hefty package, we do a big package. And I've had the last couple people reach out to me and say, hey, this person just wants to kind of try you out, like a couple episodes and see how I've had this happen with my last 3 clients. And then, and we joked the other day, it's like, I always get the call back.
Yeah.
I get the call back. They're like, hey, love it. Send me the whole season. Send me the proposal for the whole season. Like,
they want the sampler.
Yeah. They want the sampler.
They want the sampler.
Which is fine. At that level, sample. Hey, try me out. Try
seriously,
it.
seriously.
Let me show you what we can do. But I love that about you. And another thing I want to say about you, and I think this is so few and far in between, and such a great balance to watch with you, because you are a father of many babies, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there's people that I think online use spirituality and God as a tool, and leverage.
We're gonna hurt some feelings today.
Yeah, we're gonna hurt some feelings.
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's cool.
We seem to not know how to do anything else.
Let's do it. Let's go right at it.
Shoop, jumps in.
Let's do it.
Pulls out AK-40. Yeah. So we know it. We know the energy when we've seen it. You all know what I'm talking about. I have watched someone where I'm like, do you actually do that stuff for real? And not just in a business standpoint, but like, do you surrender to God the way that you're talking like you do? Do you believe in God? Do you use his word the way that you say you do? Or are you just speaking to people because you think that your audience believes in God as well that way, and they want to hear that from you? And or we've seen people fast track their success, which is what's got so many of us envious right now. So many people watching and seeing people create multi-millions in 6 months because, and it's not to say that it doesn't happen through being viral and whatnot, but people have found a lane and they pay their way through it, whether they leverage it or whatever they do. And then now we're like, it's not happening fast enough for me. And I saw a post you did the other day and you said, for men looking to be successful in business, here's 4 ways. And your first way was, or you said men in their 20s, and you said the first way is to build your relationship with God as quickly as you can.
Yes, because I think that there's a lot of people that are walking out there, specifically men. I can at least speak for the males. There's a lot of males that are walking out there that unfortunately they just don't know who they are. And since they don't know who they are, they ascribe to anything that society tells them is cool. And so they get their worthiness based off of pretty much what their audience tells them, which can also be equally as dangerous. We're serving our audience, but we don't need our audience to validate who we are. There's a big difference there.
Do you know what I heard in this? Is I heard all the people that are like pivot jumping, like
we see it all the time.
Turo, real estate, credit, business financing.
And that's where it comes back in again.
Popcorn playa.
Because remember, popcorn playa. Remember what we mentioned earlier, you guys. They're watching your personal credit because they're going to be able to see how you manage your business side, right? Putting credit aside, how you manage your personal life is also going to see how you start popcorn player through different businesses and industries that you think you're good at.
Yes.
Just because you see your friends popping it off.
Shiny object.
Shiny object syndrome.
Calm down. I'm sorry, but has anyone noticed, like, and this is not me like talking shit, but I'm just like, everyone in Turo has now had to sell off their cars.
Yes.
Everyone in Airbnb is now like, bloop, 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 bloop.
The market's turning, rules are regulating, banks are tightening up with, even what you can do with some of the cars that you got, in your business name, but you don't have a business insurance, which you're just gonna get yourself hurt, right?
Yep.
They're recalling their cars, or they're just calling for the loan, which means that they're asking or they're telling you to pay for the full amount that you owe, if that's the game that you want to play. So those are your 2 options. With now you've cut yourself out of business. And again, it goes back to not understanding who you are and the type of business that you want to run and the people that you want to serve. Not necessarily the people that you are held hostage to, because again, that's a big difference. We're going to serve each other, but I'm not hostage to you.
God, this is good. And it's been cool to watch with you and I, because it's I met you like a year and a half ago, and I felt like we've both felt the call to pivot a little bit. Like it comes because you're like, wait, is my lane about to end? Like, do I see the end of the road here?
Comes. Yeah.
And in reality, it's just an opportunity for a slight pivot. Yeah. Maybe really what becomes growth, like massive scale. And you're like, oh, that was just like a little swipe, like go left a little bit. And I've realized tried and true to everything is like, as I've stayed the course, my name has built a name for itself.
100%.
And I feel like that's what's happened with you.
Yeah. So, the audiences have been growing organically. I put up a post the other day. At the time of this recording, we just hit 100,000 followers on Instagram. We grew more in the last 60 days than we did in the first 4 years.
Oh my God. When I met you, you had like 14,000 followers.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, I'm blowing up off of TikTok right now. And I watched you go from like 14 to 40 real quick.
Yeah. So we hit 14 to 40, and then pretty much the summer has just been going crazy. I honestly don't know what it is. I want to say it's word of mouth. Like the only thing that I can say is like I have a couple posts that I put up and they just happen to go crazy. Nice. But I never create content for virality. I just create content out of being, a servant and wanting to serve my audience value.
But you break things down in such a small, educational, bite-sized way that I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Like it's,
there's one thing that I've learned, and I think early on when I was creating content is I wanted to use these big words, and I wanted to sound, I wanted to have this proclivity to sound like a genius, right? And what ended up happening was I would lose a lot of the people that I would speak to. And so I figured out that, if we simplify it, one, I have to teach it to myself 4 or 5 times before I actually give it to my audience. That's the first thing. So now you actually know it inside out, left, right, north, south, east, west. But the other side of that is that I think that when I try to, and I'm speaking for me, right? But maybe you can see your reflection in this. When I try to maybe exaggerate the complexity of an issue versus simplifying it, I'm just feeding my own ego. Because now I just want it to feel like you have to listen to me because this is harder than what it really is. My goal now is I want to make it as easy as possible.
I'm I'm fucking dumbfounded right now.
I mean, does that make sense, right?
This makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Did you hear what? Because.
And this is what happens when we hang out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is what happens right here.
I'm always like, what? No, because, and I just want to give like a clean example for someone. Like, I just remember when Turo came out.
Yes.
Right. And everybody was like, then everyone started selling a Turo course.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, guys. Yes, like there's some loopholes and some things you need to understand. And like we get this fear about everything. So I want to be careful when I say this. So people be like, oh, you can just Google it. Like, yeah, you could Google podcasting. You could also do it wrong. You could Google business credit. You could also do it wrong. There's 50 different ways that you'll be told how to do it. And good luck trying to do it by yourself.
100%.
One, I don't even need to tell you that. Two, you'll be back anyway.
Yeah.
But three, for Turo, it was like, you could literally like download the app and put your car on there.
Yeah.
And open it up for rent. Like it was like, and then people were like, you're gonna, like, people almost sold you into scarcity.
Yes.
To make you think you had to have this course to be able to scale a business. And I remember people like posting their sales revenue.
Yeah.
In Turo, and it would be like 16,000. Yeah. And you know us, we know how to read like a Stripe or something. I'm like, yo, that's 6 months.
Yeah.
If you divide 16,000 by 6 months, it's like 3,000 a month.
You can make more at your day job. Yeah.
Like, yo, don't quit your job for this shit.
Don't quit your job for it.
But it was like leading into scarcity, or you must have this in order to do this. And that is such an ego filler, and it's a falsified authority builder.
Yes. And here's the thing for the people, kind of like going off of what you said. Well, I can just Google this, or I can go on YouTube, because we get that. Yeah. We understand we're in the information business. But here's the thing. Every business that you can think of, the person that has the advantage is the one that has the information. But I wanted to take it a step further, right? Because it's all information arbitrage. At the end of the day, that's all it is.
Information
arbitrage.
All
information arbitrage. The person that has the leverage is the person that carries a little bit more information than you. But let's go ahead and give all the information away. What makes you think that somebody like Jess, information is the only thing that she has to offer?
Damn.
Like, really think about, I can Google it.
Yeah.
100% you can Google it.
Yeah.
The application, the accountability, the execution, the ability to pivot. Can't Google that.
We could have a part 1 and a part 2 with this. And see, that's why I was just talking about this in Mastermind the other day, and I won't get too far off topic, but like, there's a reason why I have an agency and a done with you service, or done for you and a done with you. Yeah. I don't do coaching anymore. And for you don't do done for you because of the legalities of it. Obviously, otherwise you probably
way more
would.
Moving parts. Yeah,
exactly. But for me, the done for you allows for me to guarantee that close to perfect product. And so people have a vision, and I'm like, oh, I can 10x this vision.
Yes.
Let me 10x this vision. That's so easy. Like, I see exactly where you're going. I know all the little prints for this. Let's blow this thing out of proportion. Yeah. I got you. Yeah. You know, and then the done with you is, okay, maybe you don't have the funds for that, but I will hold your hand and I'll make sure you do it the right way, versus just like the simplicity of what Google's going to tell you.
They're two good business models.
Exactly. Versus like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that podcasting is the only way for you to grow your business. It is the way that I grew my business. It's the way that I built authority, but vulnerability and transparency is my love language. It is the way that I communicate with people. It is how I share. I put words to feelings that people don't understand about themselves. I try to put words to things that people don't understand, period. And so I just turned that tool and my love for storytelling and ability to drop into fascination into a viable business model. And I freaking love what I do, versus there's a lot of people out there that are just trying to find anything, monetize it, and then scare the shit out of you into thinking that you absolutely must have it, or therefore your business will not survive. And there's a huge difference between, and I'm not, big up to us, but shout out to us, because fuck that. Shout out to us, because we're doing this with staying in a lane, being intentional, being impactful, and like really giving people the best result we possibly can.
I love when people say stay in your lane. I created this lane. Come on, I created this lane. You mean stay in your lane? I created this lane. Of course I'm in my lane. I stay in your lane. Dude, this is my lane. I own this lane.
This is IrvOfficial lane. Business funding lane.
And even if, and the thing is that even if you wanted to maybe jump out a little bit to maybe introduce another facet of you, that's
Yeah.
cool too.
Yes.
Which now, like, if I wanted to talk about kids, dude, I have 4.
Oh my God, we gotta talk about
I
that.
can introduce that facet. You know
Okay,
what
hold on. Rewind. Yeah, you could, because you're a father of 4, and it'll literally be like, how do you manage business and children and marriage?
I mean? Listen,
And your name goes next to it.
listen. If you don't have any kids, I'm talking to this side right here. Zoom it in, crop it out. If you don't have any kids and you are not growing your business the way that you want, you are mismanaging your time. You're mismanaging your time. Like that. That's all I can tell you. We've grown more this year, really over the last 90 days, while my kids were in and out of NICU than what we did last year.
Oh my
And I think
God.
that came from even myself having to break like this paradigm of I have to be in the trenches 12 hours. And even then I'll catch myself like, oh, I got to be in the trenches 12 hours versus wait a minute, what am I doing with the 4 that God's allowed me to take care of? And so I think I can get 4 hours of deep work versus stretching out those 4 hours into 12 hours, which is what 99.9% of failing entrepreneurs do.
Bruh. Okay. Listen, I just said this. You and I talked about this behind the scenes of like when you have a child, you're like, what exactly did I have the audacity to think that I was busy in my downtime when now my downtime goes to my kids? So
That's
there's
harder than running a
no
business.
actual downtime.
There's no downtime.
So you have to be so intentional about the business time that you have. Like when people are like, when I call people at like, we just talked about envy. We got to talk about this.
Seriously.
And I will call someone that does not have kids. God bless you guys. This is no shade to you. This is actually my envy. I hang myself with this envy. It is not your problem. It's mine. But I will call someone without kids and they'll be like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And this is my schedule. I'll call them 3 p.m. and they're like, hey, yeah, I just got my nails done and I'm just whatever. And it's not just because they're so wealthy, but they don't base their schedule off of a 9 to 5. And I still base mine off a 9 to 5 because I pick my son up at 6.
Yep.
So once the clock hits and I pick him up, let me tell you how much of a shit he doesn't give that I have work to do. So my work must end when I pick him up, because he will literally at 4 years old now be like, mommy, you working? You're not paying attention to me? Like he'll get upset. And so I'll call them at 3 and they'll be like, yeah, I just did this and I did that and da-da-da. And then, yeah, I'm going to work later. And I'm like, my day's over.
Yeah.
My day's over. What do you mean you're going to work later?
It's different. No, it's different.
I'm like, bitch, how do you have this life? What?
And the thing is, and I think you're kind of like that too, is I enjoy working more than just about anything else. It's kind of like my escape for some people.
Yep.
You know, it's going I actually enjoy working. So I enjoy building, I enjoy trying to figure things out. And so when I can't have that, I feel like I'm being deprived. Which again, to some, it could feel like, okay, that's, it feels toxic. It could be, right? I'm just being open here.
Yeah.
I'm just being open. I'm not really the biggest fan with traveling, which is why you never really see me talk about travel hacks with my content. And the credit cards.
You don't.
I don't.
And you could, because that would be such an attractive end. But you don't.
It would be a lie.
It's not you.
It would be a lie. And so I can give you guys.
I thought you were somewhere the other day. Did you go somewhere?
Where?
Did you go to Italy or something?
No.
But you were at a pool in Orlando or something?
Yes, that was
your birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, you said it was your birthday, and I went and looked, and I was like, did he go? Did he travel? And I was like, no.
Orlando.
He's in Orlando.
I'm in Orlando. That was like 10 minutes from my house. But the thing is I just enjoy work. But I have to remember that, I have my kids now, and then I have my wife. And so obviously I try to, as the husband, as, the father of these kids, I want to make sure that they also see that balance. And so speaking about balance, though, I don't believe that there's actual balance. I believe that you just get comfortable with being unbalanced.
Oh my God.
Like it just becomes a norm because I'm here right now, but I'm out with my family. So that's suffering.
Yes.
I'm with my family, but I'm out in my business. So my business is suffering.
Yes.
And so I have to be comfortable with that balance. And that comes from being present, which is extremely difficult. Yes. I don't care what anybody says. That's extremely difficult. Being present is extremely difficult.
I have to train myself.
Yes.
I have to go, oh my God, I've had to do this so many times. I'm like with my son and with like intimate people, maybe my mother or whatever. And I'm like on my phone and I'm stressing about something and I'm sending an email and da-da-da. And then I'm like, wait a minute. you thought about this, or you talked about this on a podcast the other day, or you said this, that the intention of you doing this was to have more time freedom so that you could be more present with your son and your intimate family. And now it's not a matter of you're going to create so much income that will come. It's a matter of you making the choice to be present in those moments. And then you'll create the life around that. And I go, okay, you got to stop right now.
Yes.
Every time. And I catch myself over and over and I'm like, present now, put it down.
The thing is that the income comes, but that thought never really leaves. Because then you're looking for the next best project. Because then we're like, okay,
this is the thing. I got it. I got the thing.
Oh, we made $100,000 this week. Damn, how can I make that in the next 3 days? Damn, how can I make that in one day? Damn, how can I make that with my two sales guys with me being a part of it less? And it's just
refine.
Just keep moving the goalposts. And I get it. We're in business, but we're also, at least from what I believe, and again, these are the thoughts that serve me well. I'm in no way imposing my thoughts, but I believe that, we've been called to mind, body, spirit. And so, what am I doing with my spiritual life? What am I doing as a husband? What am I doing as a father? Right? Guys, I can't tell you how many business owners we run into.
Yeah.
That their relationship is just in shambles.
Yo, we talked about this the last time we linked up was that when you get this amount of money, people always say what they won't do. I'll never leave my family. I'll never do this. And you and I know so many multimillionaires.
It's very enticing.
That all of a sudden we're like, yeah, he just left his wife. Yeah, he just left his family. Yeah, he just moved across the country and left his wife and kids. And not to say that it sounds so bad and like it's so intentional, but there's so many people that we've known that have said, I'll never, if I ever get a bag, I'll never do that. And they do. They do. It's so attractive because it's so easy to be like I can't even imagine with you. You are married with 4 children, 1 to 4. 1 to 4.
Yeah, for those that are wondering, they're like, wait a minute, did we miss a step here?
Yes.
So I have a 3-year-old little girl, and then we were planning to have one more child, right? And then we went from 1 to 4, meaning we ended up with triplet boys. And we had just come off of a miscarriage. That was last July. Just come off of a miscarriage, and we ended up getting triplet boys.
God said you want more, and voila.
So that's 3 under 3. Yeah. So she's 3 years old. She just turned 3 in February, and then the boys are turning 4 months.
So answer this for me. Irv's got the scale the business thing, I think, and I think you're a quick learner. You're like me.
Yeah, there's still parts in there that I wish I could tighten up, but that just I think. Even us at 50, there's like things we're working on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You smack me a couple times, I'll get the lesson. And then I'm like, okay, I got to clean this up a little bit. Okay, I got this. And you just become more comfortable. You mentioned that. You become more comfortable with crap. Like my project manager is always like, why are you not freaking out right now? And I'm like, girl,
you just become comfortable, dude.
This ain't nothing. We'll be fine in 2 weeks. Relax. Yeah. Like it's good. We're good. I've seen worse. But how have you grown as an individual? Because I feel like these are things, I always say this. People say manifestation on 10 speed. I feel like God teaches me my lessons on 10 speed because he's like, you got a lot of shit to do. So I need you to get through these lessons real fast. Yeah. So what are some things you felt like you learned in the last year with, I know your children were in the NICU. You had 3 new babies. You are married. Your business scaled beyond. You said you did better in the last 6 months than you have overall in business. What are some of the things you learned just to like, I know we said there's no balance, but just to grow as a person, as a man, and as a business owner?
It's going to sound like a little nihilistic, a little nihilism, but I think that when you start to realize that none of it really matters. And for those of us that maybe, read the Bible, right? That's also out of Ecclesiastes, where the author's kind of like struggling. He's built this massive wealth. He pretty much is the economy. He's the wisest man. And he says, none of it matters. Like, I have all of this fortune. I have all this gold. I have all of the accolades. None of it matters. And so I tie that in because, yes, obviously we do work that we find meaningful. But when you're in the NICU and you're holding your kid's hand, that's the only thing that matters. And yes, in the back of your mind, you're thinking about your business, but you're not really thinking about, man, I really wish I could have fixed that one piece of copy a little bit better. Like that's the last thing. And so it translates over to, I'm not in my deathbed, but I'm potentially watching all 3 of my sons in their deathbed because they're all 3 are in NICU. And so that just kind of put everything into perspective of now, instead of feeling like I have to do this, it's like, wow, this is going to be cool that I'm going to be able to do this.
Wow. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm just so floored. I want to wrap with this because I know you're a fan of Russell Brunson.
I love Russell Brunson. Love Russell Brunson.
So you would have thought this was so cool. I've talked about this exercise a couple times, but I'm just going to chime in on what you say. Because I just feel like you and I always get to connect. We connect every like 3-6 months, just audio messages. And I feel like we're always in the same place. We're working.
We're super low maintenance, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, we are like cats. Like, yo, I'm over there in the litter box. She's over there like scratching this thing right here. And when we meet up, we're like, yo, what you been working on? It's like, wow, no kidding. Whoa. And then like 3 months later,
what's up?
What's up? What else?
And I think you would appreciate this so much is, so March, I went to Mexico.
That was the Mastermind?
Yep. His Mastermind
Very
intimately. And it was really cool to be in that setting with him because there's only 200 people, which is a lot, but like that's a very intimate setting for Russell.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at this Mastermind, and you know, anything that he does is literally, you go like, he brings in all these great people, and whatever you get at the end from him, it's usually like some profound thing. He's going to bring you this new marketing. He over delivers.
He over delivers every time.
If that's somebody you learn from,
him. And that's what I've modeled after. You know what I mean? Over delivery.
Yes.
Over delivery.
And so you're going to either get like this new hot marketing tactic before the market does, or you're going to get like this tweak that he saw and it 100% works, or like something. And he gets on stage and he's like, I don't have the big marketing thing this time. And I'm like, oh shit. And he goes into this whole thing about how after all this growth, and like, I'm talking about the man, you know, multi-millions, and
he could have exited for over $1 billion.
Yes.
He could have exited.
Somebody tried to buy the company. They took a private jet in a storm, and then they were like, nah.
Yeah, he could have exited, just to put that into context.
Yes. Yeah. Could have exited with billions, like bought a library, all these things, right? And he's like, I spent the last year trying to figure out like what's next, and talks about how he hired a health coach and went through all his vitamins and just like took a step back really and realized like, the thing that everyone realizes, which is like, what is all of this for if I don't get to take my kids to school? What is all of this for if I'm 35 pounds overweight? What is all of this for if I don't get to spend time with my wife? And had us do this incredible exercise where we wrote down on us as many sticky notes as we could, all the things that brought us joy. Things that made you smile. And then of course they prompted stuff and they played music. They did an incredible job with it. So it was like, you know, when you make coffee in the morning, does that make you smile? When your kid has an aha moment, does that make you smile? When you get to wake up in the morning and it's quiet in your house and you go pick your kid up out of the crib, does it make you smile? Does dinner with your wife in silence make you smile? Like it was just all these things. Like, when's the last time you smiled and why? Is it walking outside? Is it this? Is it that? Is it tying your shoe? What is it? And write down as many as you can. And we wrote them all down. And then he was like, okay, take a step back. Now categorize them, like bunch them together in groups. Like, do you have this, this, and this? Is it under self-growth? Is it this, this, and this? Is it in your routine? Is it this? Is it Stripe notifications? Is it money? Is it earning money? Is it this? And we did that whole exercise. And then at the end, he was like, you know, raise your hand if you have more than 10 things on here that are like directly business related, like revenue business related. And it was like less than a quarter of the room. And then he was like, okay, if you have more than 10, you know, and it just got smaller and smaller. And he was like, if half of what you have on this paper of sticky notes is business related or money revenue generating related, raise your hand. And like nobody raised their hand. And he was like, so we spend more than the allotted time per week on these things that we think are business related because we think if we're busy, we're leading the business somewhere with the intention of leading the business somewhere so that we can have more of this. But yet now you see on this paper that all of this you already have. You already have it.
Yeah, that's good.
So how do you get back to building a life by design? And then literally gave us a schedule and was like, reschedule your weeks. And it was so minute, but like then after we rescheduled it, he made us write our, I always mess this up, our eulogy. He made us write our own eulogy.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And as I did the schedule in the eulogy, I talked about this in another podcast, but I heard the clearest statement in my mind because I was writing the eulogy and I wrote, I could hear someone saying like she impacted hundreds and thousands of people through her platform and blah, 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 blah. And then literally I heard this voice in my head go, don't you find another fucking stranger to help until you help your son.
Oof.
And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, like that'll get you.
It came through so clear. And I was like, oh, like, I was like, that was why I was here. Like I can go find 10 more programs to create, and I can get more creative, and I can study storytelling, and I can drop into fascination better than what I think anyone else can to help more entrepreneurs spread their message and more freaking strangers. But if I don't build this business in a way that allows me to turn the focus on the one human that I was given, the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. So good.
What am I doing? Like, and so I think I watch you and I'm like, I think, and I just think, and you tell me otherwise, I think you always find a way to keep it value focused, keep it impactful. And I love that you just own that you don't have to be like anybody else. You don't have to be like
I've been
anybody
wearing
else.
the same outfit for like the last 50 reels. Not really the same outfit, but literally go back to the gallery.
Steve Jobs of business funding.
No, I know what you mean. I think part of that just comes from it gets exhausting trying to be someone you're not. It's so tiring. I would rather spend energy reinventing myself than trying to catch up to the latest version of someone else.
Better you for you. Like, just
the best thing is no one can put rules around it because no one can say that's how he does it. So that's how you have to do it. No, these are my rules. I play by my rules. This is my game. This isn't your game. So when people say, oh, you guys aren't even on the same level, dude, who said we're playing the same game?
And guess what that does? When you own your own journey like that and you play your own rules, you don't have to be jealous or envious of anyone.
I had to learn that. I had to learn that because a lot of so I'm naturally competitive. And so a lot of what that comes from is comparing, okay, they did it like this at that age. So let me try to do that. They did it at 35. Let me try to do it at 31. Yes. So, they have this going on. So let me try to make it a little bit better. Why am I trying to play by their rules, their standards? I don't know what's going on the back end. I don't know if, the family's falling apart. I don't know if they're miserable. And when you start talking to some of these people behind the scenes, you start to realize, holy crap. Like they got issues just like me. And so we start to frame it. Would I be willing to trade all of my issues for the issues that they have? And the answer is no. I would keep my issues.
Yeah, I'd keep you put your shit on the table and I put my shit on the table. I'm gonna keep my shit.
No, give me this right. Poker match, no, I'm pulling back. I'm pulling back. That was a gamble that wasn't worth having. And so yeah, this is coming from someone who, are you into the Enneagram or no?
Yes.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 3.
Good. There you go. So she understands the language, right? Yes. So I'm a 3. And so you understand that some of the comparison doesn't come necessarily of, I want to be them, but more so, I just want to see if I'm doing it right.
Yes.
I just want to see if I'm doing it right.
Yes.
And so, man, they did it in 6 months. Oh man, it's taking me 7.5. Like I'm screwing up.
I'm not doing this right.
I'm not doing this right.
Yep.
And that's detrimental. You go crazy.
Because it's always me versus me.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm using you as a measuring stick. So if that measuring stick says this by that time, like I'll tell you I will tell you one of the most riveting things for me recently that I could throw up. I was at a mastermind and we were going over revenue and projections. And when I saw that there was a possibility based on the month that we were in for 2022, that if I go at the rate that I'm at, that I could potentially only make a quarter more than what I made last year and not double it. Oh, bitch, I was mad. I was mad. I was like, no, not with nope, because I've doubled down on my time. Yep. I've doubled down on my efforts. Yep. I've doubled down on my equipment. What do you mean I'm not doubling down on the revenue? How? And I was like, no, that's not how this works. Like, yeah. But it's, and I love what you just said, because what I heard you say from what you said, what I took from it is, instead of being the me that's normally me, this 3 in us, right? And any human, you could take it from human design to Enneagram to all the things, we're probably very aligned, is the normal me wants to use whatever measuring stick exists out there for what is considered successful in this realm to me, that like, I'm like, yeah, that's deemed successful to me. Yes. Therefore, I'm going to follow that method or that way. And that didn't work the same way for me, versus I'm realizing I'm willing to slow it down in comparison because I don't want to sacrifice other things. And I want to keep some of my balance in life. I want to learn a little more along the way. And now I'm going to decide that maybe the result is not as important as I'm making it. And maybe I'm going to enjoy the journey a little bit more. So AKA, I'm okay with the slower grind for the same result, maybe in a different manner.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Because when I watch you, I feel like that's what I'm watching you're doing is you're like, I'm going to build my business, love my family, love my kids, and not overexhaust myself in the process of trying to do any of it. And I'm not going to skip the line.
Not going to skip the line. You have to choose it every day.
Every single day.
I choose my wife every day. She chooses me every day. I choose to, go to work every day. It's choosing it.
This is so good. I love this. All right. So, because I could talk to you all day.
Seriously. No, seriously. We can.
So, leave them with one piece of advice, anything personal, business, spiritual, and then where they can, we said it earlier, but where they can follow you and where they can learn more about your Insights Inner Circle.
Yeah. InsightInnerCircle.com. If you guys wanted to get on a call with me and my team, like it's there. Like you guys are pretty smart. You guys know where to find it.
Yep.
But the whole purpose of this was really just to, if you're listening to this, and I'll leave you with this, one of the reasons why it's been so difficult for you, to be at peace with how you've been designed and who you've been designed to be is because you've never seen that version out there. And the reason why you've never seen that version out there, because that version doesn't exist. We are all, we're all just what I would say, uniquely designed, where there is no other copy of you. And so I would rather be pretty much the lowest version of what I think I can be than the best version of someone else. Because at the end of the day, it's still going to be watered down. And what ends up happening is that when we attach our values and who we think we are based off of what someone else is and who they are, guess what happens? If they fall, you've completely shattered your entire identity. And so that's going to creep into your business. That's going to creep into your marriage. That's going to creep into your personal life. So I challenge you to be okay with not knowing who you are, because no one knows who you are. And that's where you're allowed to screw up along the way.
Bruh. Because you get to decide.
You get to decide.
My mentor always says you're one of one. Your USP is that you are one of one. And that's why you can try to outrun it. You can name it, give it a business name all you want. You can try to build a legacy around something that is not you. But at the end of the day, it is you. You are one of one. This can be your worst trait or your very best. It can be your strength or your weakness. It's truly up to you. So I love to watch you stand in your strength, which is you, and your impact and your purpose and the way you help people and the way you've helped me just by showing up and being you. So 100%. I thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me on.
I thank you for showing people how to be rich in real life. Let's not be broke. Let's grow these businesses and let's scale them the right way. And until next episode, thank you, Irv.